Recording.
Cousins trying to get away from Eichel. Back to Gudas for a shot. Score! May have been deflected as Matt Reed was in the slot, and the Flyers get the first one. It's caused a turnover here. Gudas from the angle of the shot. He scores! Radko Gudas, a laser, beating Leonard, and the Flyers are back on top 2-1. Jordan cut into the middle with Steve. Drops it off for Couturier. Couturier cross ice check for Reed. They score! It's it back out. Delzato shot. They let rebound and score! Claude Giroux ends his long drought and gives the Flyers a 4-2 lead. And now Delzato with room. Lines and fires and scores! They're playing off the speed. Konechny's got it. And Travis Konechny in a Lone Ranger rush here. Konechny, the angle check. He scores! What a seed from Travis Konechny as he beats Leonard. And the Flyers now lead 6-2. Impressive performance by the Flyers here in Buffalo tonight. And the Flyers trying to remain relevant in the Eastern Conference playoff race do just that with an important 2 points.
Now, Andy Robb, Ken Prell, the Philly Hockey Guys.
Yes.
The longest intro of the season. We had so many goals to play with during that intro.
Highlights upon highlights upon highlights. That felt good.
Yes.
That felt very nice. And
It's about time.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about how they needed some even strength scoring, well, we certainly got that last night in
Absolutely.
a game against the Buffalo Sabres. Of course, if you're watching that game, you'll know all those great things that happened, including Giroux finally scoring.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
It was
a good one.
good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whoever might be listening, welcome once and all to the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
Episode number 58.
Fantastic. I'm Andy Robb.
I'm Ken Prell.
As always, thanks so much for joining us. You know, we're actually on opposite sides of the studio today, and it's
very
kind of
disconcerting.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
If, like, you know, we're like anchors or something, and I take the other side of the desk, like you're on the side that I'm normally on.
Now, let's move.
Do you want to switch right now? Oh, for crying
Yes,
out loud!
yes.
All right, fine. This is happening in real
Oh,
time,
there
folks.
we go. Oh, I feel so much better now.
Hang on, I gotta raise this.
Oh, my notes are still
What's
over
up
here.
with this seat? What did you do to my chair? It's all. Oh, it's all.
Yep. Boy, we're so well prepared today, aren't we?
Well, you're the one that wanted to switch. I was fine with doing the rest of the show like this. But, hey, it's not just about that Flyers win against the Sabres. It's not just about Ken and myself. We're going to have a special guest joining us on the podcast this afternoon.
Yeah, in just a few minutes, our buddy from our Flyers over on Reddit.
As well as Good Night, Good Hockey, the hockey blog at gnghockey.com. And, of course, organizer of the Wells Fargo Center Takeover. We'll have Dylan in the studio.
Yeah.
Well, not in the studio. He'll
On
be
the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. He'll be in the studio in some regard.
Let's get into the game last
Yeah.
night. Of course, Flyers win 6-3. How about Radko Gudas?
So what did he do now?
No, last night it has nothing to do with night court. Turn it off.
I know we just needed a reason to
No,
play
turn it
that.
off.
Off. All right, no disciplinary night court, but you might be
No.
saying goody gumdrops.
Absolutely. A goal, 2 assists, a 3-point night for Radko last night.
Yeah, great stuff. And nice goal that he had as well.
Yeah, it was, really good to see. And the captain getting on the board, which was just fantastic to see. 12 games he had gone without a goal?
Yep.
So excellent all-around game last night.
You know what goal I enjoyed last night? Delzato's.
That was a snipe.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful shot. I
gotta say, since the trade deadline, this team seems to be playing with a little bit more passion. So,
well, we've got 6 even strength goals. Is it the Filppula effect? Maybe.
it very well could be.
Maybe.
And let's not overlook Steve Mason in all of this.
Well, I'm sure some people will find a reason to overlook him, but that ain't gonna happen on this show.
But he's played the last 4 games. He's 3-0-1, posting a 1.45 goals against average right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, but he sucks.
At this
Ride
point.
him into the playoffs, baby. That's what I say.
I'm telling you, he's a little tick.
Oh, my-
What was that?
The bell just fell. was really weird. Sorry about that.
Oh boy! You know what? Why don't we get to there's other stuff falling? What the hell's going on?
There was something on the, I think it was like on the ceiling or on the wall. It was like held with a push pin, and literally while we're talking,
Studio's possessed.
It just fell off the wall. Man. No, but seriously though, you know what? So keep riding Mason, and
he was fantastic against the Caps over the weekend.
Oh my God, he kept him in that game.
Yep. I mean, made a save off of his face.
That's using your face.
So it's good to see. Good to see right now.
Yeah,
this team playing
very,
with a
very
little heart.
great. Yeah, so now in the Filppula era, the Flyers are 2-0-1. Your thoughts?
He's kind of given this team a little bit of energy. That line right now of him, Shen, and Voracek, really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. They just such a dynamic line, and seeing Konechny on the fourth line yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he had a goal. He's looking like he's playing with a lot more confidence than he had prior to his injury. I mean, remember he was getting scratched. He was a healthy scratch for a few games before the injury. So, I mean, he was playing. I mean, he was hitting stuff. I mean, even in the Capitals game, he was going around trying to hit people. So, I think there's been a renewed sense of energy in this team since the trade deadline. Maybe these guys know, hey, look, we're sticking around. We don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. Let's just see what we can do. Hopefully get into the playoffs.
Have
and
a good
then
time.
Take it from there. Yeah.
It's like we said last year. We said almost the same thing last year getting into the playoffs. Just have fun.
Yep.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy what's left of that. And since we're on the subject of forwards and how they've been playing with Konechny and stuff like that, also should be noted, Jordan Wheel.
Yeah, got his second NHL goal last night. Really like what he's bringing to the team, and was a big part of the Giroux goal as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, made a great play to set that whole thing up with that Giroux goal. So yeah, hey, could this be the turning point?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, 3 points behind the Islanders for the final playoff spot. Big game tomorrow night against the Leafs. They're 2 points behind the Leafs right now. So
who have been losing quite a few games.
Yeah, so this is
lately.
they got these are tough games. They're on the road before they come back Monday. The game will be at.
Man, that is so exciting. I just can't wait to do that.
Well, I think we probably shouldn't keep him waiting on the phone
is he
any
calling
longer.
in?
Yeah. So I think.
Oh wait, our producer over there that doesn't exist. He's signaling to us. He's signaling to us. He is calling in.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he must be on the line.
Yeah. Let's get into the what's going to be happening on Monday.
Well, this is going to be my second time talking to him. Your first time, because the first time.
The first time you didn't want me to be part of the interview at all.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll put it like that.
Yeah.
From the blog GoodNightGoodHockey.com, also from Reddit Flyers, and organizer of the Wells Fargo Center Takeover, 10 Philly fan, also known as Dylan Coyle, joining us on the show. Dylan, welcome back, dude.
Oh, how you doing, Andy and Ken? It's finally nice to be back. You didn't want me on for a year. I get it. Too much of me, too bad. But I'm back.
That is right.
That's all Andy's fault.
Wow.
Well, we can go with that.
And Dylan, if I'm not correct, Andy's already screwed up the website, hasn't he?
What website? Good Night Good Hockey?
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it. GNGhockey.com.
Well, I meant good from Good Night Good Hockey, and then I just threw the .com on.
Yeah, but it's wrong. People are out there looking for a Good Night Good Hockey, and they're all over the place.
This
now.
is off to a banner start.
So let's at least introduce the guest correctly.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and do it then, Ken?
From GNGhockey.com, our good friend Dylan. Do you see?
Ken,
That's how a professional does it.
Oh, all right. So, well, let's jump right into it. Next week is the second annual Wells Fargo Center Takeover. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, the Wells Fargo Center Takeover, for people who do not know what it is, basically it is a huge group outing between hockey fans, specifically Flyers fans. We all get together. We basically take over the Wells Fargo Center for an hour and a half. We have ice time. We have this year around 76-ish total players in 4 separate teams, 2 games. We will be playing, and then we'll have a huge 150-person tailgate. And then we will be going to the Flyers game that night. That's going to be March 13th. It's a Monday.
Now, you were talking about the numbers for the turnout for this year. Is that a larger number than last year?
So last year there was 120 total people coming. This year it's 150. Basically, last year my customer service rep at the time with the Flyers cut us a deal. She got us. You need 150 usually to get ice time. She got us to where we only needed 120. This year it went up to 150, which I was completely on board with. And we were able to get enough people again this year. Now, we're not just doing the Wells Fargo Center Takeover. I also decided to do one with the Reading Royals, the ECHL affiliate of the Philadelphia Flyers. We were planning to do one with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms of the American Hockey League, but that didn't work. There wasn't enough people who wanted to do that. We have 40 people going to the one in Reading, and that's going to be pretty nice because that's going to be a 3-on-3 tournament instead of the normal 5-on-5 with the Wells Fargo Center Takeover.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds like a good time in there with the Reading Royals takeover, and like I said before, I mean, so excited to know more and actually experience the takeover firsthand. It's gonna be quite an experience.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to come because I know last year you wanted to, but there was also I'm not sure if it was timing or anything. Definitely happy you guys are able to come this time.
We're definitely looking forward to it. Now, how many players overall?
I believe approximately 76. There's 21 per team, and those numbers I have I'm playing twice, because I'm the organizer and stuff like that. But there's 4 teams. If I remember some of the names right off the top of my head, instead of Team A, B, C, and D, the boring names from last year, we've got the Rebels, the Inferno, I don't even, the Warriors, something like that. I forget right now.
Now, how much is it going to cost me to put a bounty out on Andy?
Oh, for crying out loud.
What? It's a good question.
All right, yeah, it is.
Well, I don't know. Actually, let me see what team. I'm going to get on my computer right now. I'm not sure what team Andy's on. I'll check. Oh, I'm on the same team for game 2 as him, so I'll try no penalties against teammates. So.
Oh, boy, I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to be playing in a bubble. This is actually going to be my first time playing hockey in about a year.
Really?
But, I just went back to, they don't have any, open stick times on the weekends at the ice rink up here where we're at, so it's been kind of hard to get some practice in and shoot some pucks. I just went skating again for the first time last week, so I'm getting myself in gear. I'm really looking forward to at least, getting out on that ice. The same ice that Lindros played on and Hextall. And, even if Ken wants to put a bounty on me, I said, if I die on the Wells Fargo Center ice, I'm kind of all right with it.
That is, it's a good way to go out in style.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're diehard Flyers fans here. I think that's a perfect demise for me. And this just got really dark.
If there is such a thing.
Now, how long are those games usually going to last for the?
So it's around 40 minutes, but there's the warm up, the few minutes of warm up time, and after each game there will be a picture of both teams that played at that time on ice. We actually have the pucks that were designed. Very nice design this year. Adam Jarrett was the one who designed them. He always does a fantastic job. We also have 2 photographers this year.
Oh, wow.
One of them will be returning from last year. Another one who is actually many people know him as Joe, R35H93, one of the mods on our Flyers.
Yes.
The second photographer this year. He's a good guy. I went to a few games with him. He's really awesome. We will also have a videographer. You remember last year if I had to edit all the GoPro footage together. Yeah, I wasn't doing that this year. My TV video teacher will be coming and recording the game for me with an XA10 camera, so that's going to be beautiful.
Oh, that's a nice setup, too. That's a great camera.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking to get that for next year when I go to Temple.
Absolutely, and we'll be bringing our recorder down. Obviously, we're going to be doing a podcast from there.
It'll be some sort of a podcast. I'm not sure how this is all going to come together,
Special-
but
yeah, we're not sure exactly how it's going to come together, but we will be doing it, and we're again, excited is not. It doesn't even do it justice to describe how we're feeling about making the trip down for the takeover for this year.
I'm definitely very excited. Last year, for me, there was a little bit of anxiousness, I think, because I never did it before. And at the time, I was only 17 years old. And everyone thought when I was going in that I was, 30-something, older than that. So there was definitely that aspect. But now, since a lot of the guys who are doing it this year, I know personally it's going to be much more fun, I think, in my opinion, than last year. I will actually not be in the stands with everyone during the actual game itself.
Oh, really?
I will be in the booth with Jim Jackson. For the first and third periods, I'll be in the booth with him. I won't be mic'd up, but that'll be cool. And then the second period, I will be in the production room.
that is awesome.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Congratulations. Make sure to take him some Philly Hockey Guys stickers.
Oh, trust me,
Be like, what the hell is this? Get this out of here.
What is this junk?
You're on the list.
Oh, that's tremendous. That's absolutely tremendous. And, of course, we are talking with Dylan Coyle, GNGHockey.com, the blog Good Night Good Hockey, also organizer of the 2017 Reddit Flyers Wells Fargo Center Takeover. Now, I think we might have to move on to some more pressing questions aside from the takeover, and, of course, which is the status of the Philadelphia Flyers as of right now. Ken, what do you got?
This is Dylan's opportunity right here, so I'd love to get his opinion on actually what his thoughts are on how the season is progressing. Is this going to be a playoff team?
I think it's going to be very tough. The stock answer that you guys want from me is, of course, they're going to be a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can't deny that there is a difficult road ahead. The percentages from this time last year were much higher than it is right now, and there's so many teams vying for that last wild card spot. The way they played this past week was fantastic. Steve Mason started getting back on his groove. The team started to look like they had some heart. The addition of Valtteri Filppula helped the team creatively, and it just looked like they were just simply playing with more heart, not necessarily desperation, but with more firepower, more ferocity inside them. There's no doubt they need to keep that going. And if you wanted me to predict if they're a playoff team, if they play like they have been in the last week, taking the best team in the NHL to overtime, they need to play like that. If they play like that throughout this entire end of the season, they will be a playoff team.
Now, you mentioned Filppula just a few seconds ago. What are your thoughts on that addition of him to the Flyers lineup?
It's kind of twofold for me. When the trade was ultimately announced, I was happy to see, of course, Mark Streit was a very serviceable player in the Flyers and the Philadelphia community. But it was his time. The cap hit was big. I was excited to hear what we were getting back, and when I saw it was Filppula, I was cautiously excited because he does have a $5 million cap hit, and it is going through next year. So it's not that big of a long-term deal. It's basically a low-risk, high-reward situation. And what he has been able to do, I saw someone describe him in a thread on our Flyers sometime today, that he's basically a Matthew Shane light. He can play he's a playmaker. I remember in one of his first shifts in the game, one of his first games of the season with the Flyers, I forget if that was against Florida, if you can correct me or not. But there was this Michael Raffle and him, just knew, or not right here, it was Braden Shen. They were just on the same wavelength, and just the pass got through to him. Valtteri Filppula knew exactly where he was on the ice without even having to look one more time. It just seems like there's chemistry within that lineup.
Yeah, and now also with Jake Voracek, there's definitely some noticeable
Voracek
chemistry.
definitely seems to have a little more giddy up in these last few games since the trade. So, yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of that line so far.
Absolutely. I think Voracek has had some of the workload unloaded off of him. So I think that's going to help in the long run as well. Filppula is a good addition, no doubt about it. The only question is the cap hit, but I will take Filppula doing this over having to worry about the cap hit.
Yeah, because when you talk about, his playmaking ability and stuff, it's also a point that we pointed out in the last podcast, but was also illustrated by somebody on Reddit Flyers that, 27 of his 34 points have come at even strength, which is, something that the Flyers are sorely needing at this current point in time.
100%. I actually, another personal plug, on GNGHockey.com, I wrote an article in December talking about the Flyers, how when they were on that 10-game winning streak, once they're 5-on-4, their power play units started to dry up and the goalie started to getting less hot. That was mostly Steve Mason at the time. The Flyers were going to be exposed because they've never been a 5-on-5 team this year. They haven't been good on it. With Filppula getting those 27 points and 37 games or something like that, he's doing such a fantastic job of bringing light back to the team.
What about the theory of this is kind of now a wake-up call for Couturier?
I saw that article, and Couturier, he's always been an interesting case for me. He's 23 or 24 years old. He's in that range, but Couturier has not gotten that offensive game. There's no doubt. He is the best defensive forwards in the entire game today, and that's saying a lot for his age. However, I don't want less than 20 points at this point in the season from, I believe he was an 8th overall pick. I mean, defensively, yeah, it's fantastic. One of the best in the game. It's going to be hard if you wanted to replace him. But the offensive production needs to get better for me.
Well, that's what, one thing that drives me nuts about Couturier is that he always seems to be right there. He has the chances. And, he did score the other night against Washington, which was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something to this is a wake-up call to him, but he's got to bury more of these chances. He can't just, be there and be almost there every time.
And I think the question therein lies, how much longer are you willing to let Couturier grow and build out? Yes, he is in a few seasons into his NHL career, but he also still is at a young age where a lot of players are starting to come into the NHL. So there's questions about how long you'd wait for, questions of did we not do something good when they brought him into the NHL immediately? But I think I'm not sure what I do with Couturier. I don't want to say one thing or the other because he still has potential, but it's nervous to see his offensive production has never gotten to a point where it's satisfactory to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the best way to summarize it. I mean, it's like he definitely has value, but like sometimes that value, like trying to find those bright spots on it, can be a little murky at times, trying to find those bright spots. I mean, you mentioned like, him as a defensive forward, absolutely, but, for some of the other things when you're like, oh, well, sometimes he's good here, and then he just kind of drops off. It is a strange situation regarding a player like Sean Couturier.
Absolutely, and I think adding Filppula doesn't really necessarily put pressure on Couturier exactly. More so it helps the team in a way that Couturier was not helping with, but no player on the Flyers were helping with. So I don't think it necessarily puts pressure on Couturier. The question of Couturier is a fair one, but not in the situation that Filppula coming puts pressure on him, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Now, what about the other moves Hextall made at the deadline, extending Bellemare and extending Neuwirth? Surprised by that?
So, I actually think Hextall is an absolute genius with the Neuwirth contract, and let me explain why.
Okay.
So, if they went in, Mason, of course, is the better goaltender. And I still love Steve Mason. In fact, I think Steve Mason is way more up there in my favorites than Michael Neuwirth. But here's the situation going into this expansion draft because it plays such a large role. And if they did not have Mason or Neuwirth on contract for next year, you need to have one goalie who is on contract next year, if I'm remembering all the expansion draft rules correctly.
Yep, that's correct.
You have one goalie that's on contract for next year exposed. And that goalie would have to be Anthony Stolarz. Now, they're going to try and, I believe, expose Steve Mason to Vegas. They'll have Neuwirth or somewhere in that scenario. With Mason, if Vegas decides to pick him, Mason can be like, I don't want to be with you guys. So by July 1st, he'll be back in free agency. He can sign with the Flyers. He can do what he chooses with that. The Flyers, Hextall, and Vegas might have already made some backdoor talks. So I think by next year, if Neuwirth is not taken, because it's going to be Stolarz that's protected, Neuwirth might be exposed if I'm remembering correctly. But it's a smart move. There's an article about it online that explains it better than I am right now. On the cover, it does not look the greatest because you wonder, well, why isn't Mason going to get that contract? But if it plays out the way that some people are expecting it to, it can be another stroke of genius from Ron Hextall. Now, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, I absolutely love him as a player. I think he's a fantastic voice for the team, a fantastic leader. He puts his heart out every night, and, of course, that's a guy that Dave Hextall loves to play. And personally, I am absolutely 100% behind the extension. He's a really good fourth liner that can kill penalties, and I think it's really hard to find a player with as much heart as him.
Solid utility player, as we said on the last podcast. I mean, I'm right with you on that, Dylan. I'm a big fan of that deal. That is a player, really, I mean, next to Simmons, I mean, maybe even more in a regard. That's somebody that goes out and gives 110% every single time that he's out on the ice. Bellemare, I mean, and for his versatility, I feel like he played better offensively when he was paired up with Ryan White. I mean, how good can he be when you're paired up with Dale Weiss? But
Exactly.
I'm absolutely on board too. I think it's a great deal, especially, and a nice modest deal too. Real attractive for just for the 2 years. He's a good person to have around for sure, and I think he definitely deserved to get that A. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with giving him the A. To be quite honest, I didn't even think when Strike got traded, I completely forgot about the A now being an option for some, to take. I think that when a lot of people did not predict Bellemare, it was because of his playing ability. However, of course, it's not the playing ability that gets you on to the captaincy, whether it's a C or an A.
Right.
It's how much leadership you actually provide to the team, and obviously Bellemare was absolutely touched by it when he found out.
Yeah, that was an awesome thing to see on CSN Philly when they were interviewing him about getting the A, and I can't be more happy for the guy. I'm glad that he's going to be sticking around.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to continue to do in the black and orange.
Speaking of leadership, how about Giroux this year? Play has really fallen off for him. Is he a guy that you think maybe Hextall looks to move in the offseason?
This is a very difficult issue and very controversial.
That's why we're asking you.
Realize this. I got to watch what I say. But I like Giroux. I've always continuously liked Claude Giroux. There's questions over whether he has ever recovered from the surgery he got in his wrist or his hand a few years ago. But there still is the thing that Giroux is still a fantastic playmaker who does seem right now to be trying to do too much. He seems frustrated when he's playing. He's 29 years old. He's going to be under contract till his mid-30s on a decently high price. I would not shop him. But if a team offered me, a lot for him, I would consider it. However, I would not be shopping him right now at all. There's the question, that once he starts to get to, age 32, that the prospects will be fully developed and the team will be ready to contend and Giroux will be dead weight. I don't think that'll necessarily happen. I think Giroux's had a few bad years, but he hasn't had the players that he needs around him. If you remember correctly, in his 93-point year in 2011-12, he had two big, strong players on his wings in Jágr and Hartnell.
True.
He doesn't really have those two wingers that are helping him out skill-wise at all. And as we know, unless you're, Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby, you're not going to be able to do anything without teammates and line mates.
True, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, and that's kind of our thoughts on it as well. Giroux's a player that, you don't want to preemptively trade, and you don't want to, you don't agree. We agree also you don't want to be actively shopping him. But, if something does catch your ear, I'll listen to the right offer. But, at this point, considering getting rid of him isn't even an option. So I agree with you on that one, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard numerous people say, oh, we should get rid of Giroux because he isn't doing he's not a captain. Well, how about you take a step back and look at the big picture of everything? Look at his years past, try to evaluate what he can do, what he needs help with. But at the same time, I mean, this guy is the most criticized on the team, whether it's right or wrong. Of course, he's going to be the most criticized, and of course, he's expected to be the best player. Could his points match what he should be doing? I think he can put up more points, but he's frustrated right now, and I'm a Drew fan. I definitely like him, so I'm not on the fence to trade him whatsoever.
Now, it sounds like you definitely have faith in Hextall and getting this team going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
How about the head coach?
Dave Hextall. So, man, I love these questions today, guys.
That's what we do.
Oh, of course. Dave Hextall is a coach that, while he's frustrating at times, I also want to see what he can continue to do. Remember, I believe he was the first college coach to come right from college into the NHL in like 30 years or so. I believe it was Herb Brooks, if I'm remembering correctly. That was the last one.
I believe so, yeah.
But it's just the amount of play that he has wanted, the strategy that a lot of people have been annoyed with. Yes, there have been times where Hextall just makes just questionable decisions, whether it's scratching players and putting other players in, Gossespierre, McDonald, that's things we've talked about. But I do think Dave Hextall doesn't deserve as much as he's getting right now in the hatred department. We know Philadelphia is a very, very, strong and passionate city. When he's doing fantastic, when the team's doing good, they love him. Mm-hmm. When they're not doing so well, they hate him. Just try and think about what this team will be in the future. I mean, Hextall's used to getting that fourth-line talent to start giving everything they've got. He's a good coach when it comes to the back end of the season. With North Dakota, he led a team, I believe it was 12 or 14 times or so, to the Frozen Four when it was not a fantastic team. So he is good at getting the most out of his players. Does he need to evolve in some cases? I absolutely do think he does. Does he have the time? I also think he does too. It's only his second season coaching in the NHL. And to fire him now to absolutely want somebody else is just irrational in my opinion.
Let me ask you, if Ed Snyder's still alive, would Dave Hextall survive the season?
I think he would.
Really?
And I feel like I do. Ed Snyder, over the last few years of his life, he started to get into that more, all right, let's see what Hextall would be able to do. Let's take a more, slower look at it to have the prospects built up instead of always trying to contend every year. And I think Snyder would absolutely go with Hextall on this. I mean, when Hextall was brought in, the plan to already start going again was already in motion.
Right.
I think Snyder would be okay with Hextall. Of course, the results are not what we're used to in Philadelphia with Snyder being here. However, I do think, yes, he would trust in Hextall, and he would also let Hextall keep going.
That's a perfect answer for that question because that pretty much sums up how I feel about it. I mean, we've said it before on prior episodes of the podcast. It's like, you can get yourself worked up as to, how this team is performing this season. You have your ups, your downs, your good, your bads, or whatever, but still. It's not about this season. It's about what's to come over the next few seasons. You got to keep your eyes on that and stay focused on the big picture. I mean, really, and you're right. As Philadelphia fans, it is really, really easy to lose sight of that big picture very quickly. I mean, it doesn't even have to be the Flyers. It can be the Phillies. It can most certainly be the Eagles.
Well, I mean, here's the problem with all that. And if you're a Philadelphia sports fan, all these teams are going through the same exact thing at the same time. So the impatience and the aggravation just is ratcheted up more than it would be if it was just one team going through this. When you have all four teams going through this kind of down period, this rebuilding period at the same time, it's very frustrating to be a Philadelphia sports fan at this time. So and then you look at the Flyers. I mean, they were coming off a playoff run last year. You were hoping that this was the team that was a little bit closer than everybody else.
I definitely would agree with everything you guys just said. I mean, what was it? Almost a decade ago that all the teams were absolutely contending the Flyers in the Cup in 2010. The Phillies won the World Series in 2008, lost the World Series in 2009, and went on a very, very continuous decline. The Eagles, I believe it was 2009, they were in the NFC Championship. Yep. The Sixers were a game away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2012, I believe. And heck, if you want to put the Philadelphia Union involved in it, in 2011 we made the playoffs. So it's definitely been a very upsetting time for Philadelphia fans. And I'm a younger one. I'm only 18, so I haven't seen all the ups and downs that can go with being a Philly fan. But I am absolutely willing to just wait a little bit longer, be patient to become a team that will always compete for a number of years in the future.
See, I can wait for another championship. You know why? Because I'm still riding high on that Philadelphia Soul championship.
Oh, man. The Soul who always plays the team from Arizona every single year.
Yeah, the same. And, of course, we're talking with Dylan Coyle from Reddit Flyers as well as the blog GNGHockey.com. Good night, good hockey. Dylan, tell us a little bit about your new website and blog.
So we got it started in December. Basically, for people that don't know me, I've always wanted to be a sports broadcaster for a number of years, especially for hockey. I've done a lot of broadcasting as the years have gone on. 2 of my recommendation letters for college was from Jim Jackson from the Flyers, Rob Ellis from 97.5 and Comcast Sportsnet. And I actually, just a few weeks ago, I announced for the Reading Royals of the ECHL, I will be announcing for Temple Hockey next year and hopefully getting a show on Temple's radio station. Now, Good Night, Good Hockey, GNGHockey.com. It came into my head in November. So by December, we were releasing the first articles. There's a bunch of users from our Flyers that are on the subreddit. Myself, there's user Animal Sciences _Jerusalem. We've got Chris Carnevale, Chris CTFB97, I believe is how his username goes, and you Bat Rastard.
Oh, shout out to him.
But basically, and it's grown to get a few more users and people as the months have gone on. It's absolutely crazy because in December, I did not think 3 months later there would be 27,000 total views on the site so far, which is unbelievable. We now have press passes for the Hershey Bears, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the Reading Royals. It's absolutely insane to me. I was on Saturday night. I was at the Hershey Bears game when they took on Wilkesboro Scranton Penguins. The Bears won 2-1. And here I am, along with my other friend, Dean Snock. We are interviewing, Phoenix Copley, who was just traded from St. Louis in that Shattenkirk trade, interviewing Troy Mann, the coach of the Bears, who, by the way, is a very kind person, a really cool person. I've talked to him a few times now. But it's so crazy because here I am. I'm a high school senior, and I'm already starting to live out my dream in ways I never thought at this age.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, and we love it. We think it's awesome, and we love staying in touch with you as well. We love having you as being a part of the show as well.
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I love talking to you guys. It's always fun to come on here.
Now you're getting a really good up close look at what could be the future of the Flyers coming up, and really the future of the NHL. You're getting to see that. Who should we be most excited about?
Absolutely, undoubtedly, Travis Sanheim. And the game that I went for the Phantoms, now Andrew Ostrowski, who is Bat Rastard, he will be going to around 1 game per weekend for the Phantoms for GNGHockey.com. Absolutely, Travis Sanheim. He is so dominant with the puck. He is so smooth skating. He positionally is fantastic. Offensively, his game is going. Defensively, he looks like a very sound NHL defenseman. I asked Scott Gordon about Sanheim, and he said his puck control is unbelievable. The way he can get into the zone, it's just fantastic for him. Sanheim, he will be an NHL star in the years upcoming.
Who would you like to see him out of this current defensive setup with the Flyers right now? Who would you like to see Sanheim paired up with the most? Gostisbehere, Gudas, who do you like?
That's a really good question. I don't know exactly because, of course, with defensemen, there's always going to be that odd fit. I wouldn't mind seeing Gudas and Sanheim together. I believe Gostisbehere would be a nice pairing too, but Gudas, I feel like, has the same kind of game as Sanheim, not as fantastic as Travis Sanheim is potential-wise, but they both seem to complement each other's play style well, whereas Sanheim will go for the hits. He usually is pretty sturdy with his stick checks. Gudas will go for the hits. They're there to protect each other. Gudas is getting very well positionally. Travis Sanheim's already there in the positional sense. So I would like to see them together. Of course, Gosper and Sanheim would be great, and everyone would love to see Provorov and Sanheim, which I am not,
Yeah.
I am not against at all.
Nope.
Whatever works for this team.
Here I was thinking you were going to pick McDonald. Damn it.
Oh, well, listen, Andrew McDonald, don't you mean the sniper, goal scorer, 360 spinorama machine of the Philadelphia Flyers?
Total workhorse. 61 minutes of ice time every night.
You know, it's a shame we always rag on him because he's said to be a very good person, and it's unfortunate because he would smoke any one of us at the takeover.
Oh,
Well, yeah. I mean,
me for sure.
it comes down to his contract, and that's basically the only real reason. I mean, if you look at him, he's a
100%.
serviceable defenseman in the NHL, but that contract just doesn't equal out.
It buries him. It buries him in all this criticism.
Anybody else we should be keep our eyes out?
How about Morin? Thoughts on Morin at his current place in time?
You've seen a lot of reports about him having that raw talent. I think he still is raw in a few senses of the word. Positionally, he still needs a little bit of work, but what he can do defensively is holy crap. When he is in position, he can absolutely dominate any player. His size helps in that. When he was drafted, he was compared to Chris Pronger. I still think he's a raw Chris Pronger. I don't expect him to be in a lineup come next year. I wouldn't be against it again. But maybe in the year after that, he'll be in that lineup.
Sounds pretty good to me. And then also Haig as well. What are your thoughts on Robert Haig?
I think Robert Haig will also have a better chance than Morin next year to get into the Flyers lineup. I think Robert Haig is basically your all-around player, of course, with that emphasis on the offensive side of the defensive game. But he definitely is a very confident player, and that's what I like about him. Him and Sanheim share that. So I would like him to come up and maybe be a top 6 defenseman for the Flyers. If not, he can, of course, keep going on his game. But he's another exciting player that I hope people haven't forgotten about because he can really round out defensive prospects.
Talking about also exciting players, moving towards forwards, a lot of people are coming out and saying Lindblom is basically pretty much ready for the NHL. Your thoughts on him?
Now, Lindblom, of course, we don't have the benefit of watching all of his games right now because he is in the Swedish Hockey League, if I remember correctly. But he's just absolutely dominating that game. I love what Lindblom has been able to do. Again, I can't really comment exactly on all his skills because I haven't seen them firsthand. But if he's able to impress in training camp, I have, of course, no bad feelings about him making the team. I definitely think there's a spot for him if what we are hearing will come out to fruition.
And then let's move all the way to the back end. Let's move to goalies. Thoughts on Sandstrom, Lyon, all the other young goalie prospects that we have working in the pipelines. Aside, Stolarz aside, which other ones do you like right now?
Can I just say I really like that we have good goaltenders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never thought you'd put that in the same sentence as Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, exactly. Carter Hart keeps doing so well in the Western Hockey League.
Yeah.
Alex Lyon is doing so well as the backup for the fans. Not really much of a backup, more a 1A, 1B situation where he is the 1B and is able to steal a game and be the 1A if need be. Felix Sandstrom is doing such a great job. It's crazy that we have so many great goaltending prospects.
Yeah.
Carter Hart is doing a good job in the WHL, which, of course, is the more defensive league of the Canadian Hockey League. I put my money on Carter Hart or Alex Lyon to kind of get that bit after Stolarz, because obviously Stolarz is right now the immediate goalie of the future for the Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about those younger goalie prospects, and also, it also comes from not being able to see what these players have been doing during this season with whatever league that they're in currently, and that's a good answer. I mean, it is definitely a time to be excited, and when you've got a legendary goaltender running the show, it's like, hey, of course he's going to pick out some great goaltending prospects. If there's one person I trust to have an eye for raw goalie talent, it is Ron Hextall for sure.
Can you only imagine how excited Ron Hextall would be if he got a hybrid of a goalie that plays like Stolarz, and in that goalie was also Samuel Morin?
Oh, That would just be like, I can't even put that into words. That dude would just be a behemoth. Like,
Pascal would have a good day.
we'd have a good couple years for sure.
Of course, absolutely.
Before we let you go, real quick, again, the Wells Fargo Center Takeover, really excited about that. And is there going to be a plan as of right now for another one for next year?
There is. I don't want to divulge too much information right now, but it might be a little different for next year. It's still going to happen.
Okay.
It might be a little different.
All right. Well, once you decide, exactly what those plans are going to be, there's only one place where you need to announce it.
Yep.
Well, of course, exactly. And that's, to our Penguins. Now I got to go now.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite Penguins fan. And, of course, we're going to be talking more on Monday. What we're going to try to do is we're going to maybe do a little, meet and greet type session for the podcast where we can have anybody who wants to come up and talk to us, tell us about themselves, who they are and stuff. We'd love to have you back on for that. So, obviously, we'll be catching up with you come Monday at the Wells Fargo Center for that.
Of course, and the tailgate last year, it's awesome. This year it's going to be even better. We've got a DJ coming, which it was offered to me. So one guy who's going to the takeover emailed me, I think yesterday, and was like, we do tailgates at Temple football games, and my one friend who's going is also a DJ, a semi-pro DJ, so he's going to bring his stuff. I'm like, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Phenomenal. Ken and I are going to be bringing, what are we bringing?
Canada Dry.
That's right. We're bringing plenty of Ron Hextall's favorite soda, Canada Dry. We're bringing it. Some for everybody. It's going to be great. And we're going to bring some, we also have some, we're going to bring some stickers, I think.
Man, you keep pushing these stickers like there's something great. I mean, people are going to just
are they
beat us up.
scratch and smell? Do they have the colognes that you guys wear on them?
You know what?
I'm going to leave that one alone.
It smells like hockey gear.
Oh my gosh.
But it's going to be quite an experience, getting out there to the Wells Fargo Center, being involved and immersed in all of this, and looking forward to doing yet another episode with you again for that. It's going to be so great.
Of course. And anytime you would like to talk to me afterwards, I love talking to you guys. This is a fun time for me, and hopefully it won't take a year. To bring
No. I think in the next couple of weeks we'll have to get you back on because I want to hear about your experience with Jim Jackson and everything else you'll be doing that night. So it's going to be very cool. So I can't wait to hear about that.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I won't be mic'd up. I was I talked to him, and of course, I was mic'd up with the Reading Royals. It's in my hockey demo reel. It's on my YouTube channel. Personal plug: 10 Philly Fans, my YouTube channel. You want to watch it? There you go.
See, this guy knows how to plug himself. Yeah. We don't do that. We have no idea.
I also have 10 Philly Fans stickers and GNG hockey stickers if you want them. That's a lie.
I was going to say we could do a hockey sticker trade.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun time there, and I'm more than happy to talk with you guys about that.
Well, it sounds great, and I can't wait till Monday, and I'm getting my 20s ready to see how many it's going to take to pay out that bounty to have Andy buried in a corner.
Yeah, well, the winner
we'll talk.
The winner that carries out that bounty successfully will receive a brand new Mark Streit Penguins jersey, courtesy of the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
Well,
yeah,
that's all you have to say, Dylan.
Now I'm not going to get hurt because nobody's going to want that piece of crap.
Well, if everyone in our Flyers is correct, you know what I'm trying to lead into right now, guys.
It's going to be him. You better look out for Dylan.
Oh no,
he's going headhunting.
I think I just signed my own death warrant.
Coyle 48. Pay attention. We're on the same team.
Oh, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out what Flyers jersey I'm wearing for the game. I'm just trying to...
I'm probably... I don't even think I'm going to be wearing a Flyers jersey to the game because I'll probably be wearing a collared shirt and being next to JJ and everyone. I want to look a little professional, but I'm also going to smell a little like hockey.
So you're going to play hockey in a collared shirt? That's fantastic.
No. I did a few weeks ago at Stick and Puck, but that's besides the point.
Okay. All right.
Well, Dylan, it's been great chatting with you here today. Thank you for taking the time. And again, really looking forward to Monday.
Absolutely. I'm so happy you guys invited me back on. I love doing it. And I cannot wait until Monday. It's going to be such an awesome time once again.
Yeah, well, when you got Flyers hockey, a bunch of great guys, Canada Dry Ginger Ale, you can't go wrong.
Of course.
So make sure to check out gnghockey.com. The blog is Good Night, Good Hockey. Dylan, thank you once again for joining us here, of course, on the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
Absolutely, and thank you guys so much for having me on.
Always a pleasure to talk to him. That's fantastic. Can't wait for the takeover coming up.
I can't wait to see you carried out on a stretcher. Man, if you really do get hurt now, I'm going to actually feel somewhat bad and maybe responsible. But so I would just keep your head up on Monday.
I literally have nothing to say to that. But
we should probably wrap this one up then.
Well, special thanks to Dylan again. That was absolutely awesome of him to take some time to call us up here on the show. And wow, I'm just without words.
I'll definitely be back next week with a new show. Andy, well, touch and go right now.
Yeah, well, check in with me from intensive care. We're going to, my voice will be replaced by the boop, boop. That's very interesting, Andy. What else? Boop, boop.
Be the first time you brought any knowledge to the show. All right, good night, everybody. I left them speechless. Hey, for Andy, Rob, I'm Ken Prell. We are the Philly Hockey Guys. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, our special Wells Fargo Center Takeover podcast coming next week. And if you're going, we'll have a Canada Dry for you.
Yum.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like the Philly Hockey Guys podcast page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Philly Hockey Guy. And subscribe on iTunes, TuneIn, and SoundCloud.